Welcome, I'm Bill Wake. We're here working on SortTables, which is a data viewer, and lately we've been working on database configuration, and we're to the stage where we want to add tables. Okay, and doing that made me think, okay, we want to allow tables. We got to deal with repeating an existing table. We wanted to allow deleting, and it occurred to me, like, what if you delete the last table? How do you get a new one back that matches that? We only have a duplicate, but not a new table. So I think we're going to have to address just add a plain new table as well. I seem to have lost my running app. Okay, we'll get that kicked off. All right, and we'll also need to delete the joins it participates in. Mudshark666 thought about that yesterday. Should add join, specify the join, and then display it. Yeah, we'll have to think about how we want that to go. And it should probably be consistent between tables and joins. Although I can see other ways to do joins too. I don't know. We'll come back to that. All right, where are you running? Or are you running? Good on here. Good. Okay. Simplify the language a little there. Okay. And we'll kick off test 2 just because. So we are looking at database selection. Okay, yeah, we have this updated issue. All right. Well, when those finish, we'll run. The problem was when you added, let's see, you changed the name of a table. Oh no, it was something about duplicating the table. When you duplicated a table, we thought from here it looked like it changed everything correctly, but when it displayed, it showed the same table twice. So somewhere between here and here, or here and the display, things got messed up. Okay, oh, it's still testing. Okay. I don't have anything else running really. I don't know what happens if I do this. No? Okay. Okay, no failures. All right, let's run this thing for real. All right, so create a database configuration. And I did, before we left, I put the UUID of the table selection in the display. And if we duplicate, well, one thing is it comes to the bottom, which I don't think I quite like, but notice they're both AOB 7, whatever. They're the same. And so if I deselect one, I deselected both of them. All right. Is the UUID created in the constructor? Yes, I believe so. Let's check that. We want table selection. Okay, so when you create a new one, it creates a new ID. And let's move this over. Was that all tables view? No. I just had that code there. Table selection. Database selection. Okay, where's table selection? All right, so database selection creates a new table selection, so it should have a new ID. And we did step through this yesterday, and it looked like everybody had their own ID. I did come up with one theory. I don't know the timing sequence as things mutate, like when do they notify? And it made me wonder if doing this first had it update the display using the old table reference map and then update the new reference map. And I don't know if that triggered display or not. I don't know. It's kind of a weak theory, but it's what I got. As promised, I did not look at the code or try and debug it or anything like that. So we'll see. My mental model was that when this method finished, it should detect the change and update the display, but that may not be right. It may be more around the fields. When the field changes, that should cause a display update. Okay, so now we got these three. We'll add a new one. F828. Okay, well, so much for that theory. Okay. Let's put it back. All right, any other working theories, or I'm going to set a breakpoint and walk through this and make sure this table looks right, and then we'll see. Okay. Let's run this again. Oh, I don't have to run it again, do I? Okay, so I duplicated class, and we'll step over. Okay, so let's look at table selection. Original table selection.id should match F8. Yeah. And then let's look at the new selection, new table selection.id. That's C98, which doesn't exist yet. Okay, so we'll step over. Okay, so now the table selections. I don't know if I can map to $0.id. Okay, there are the four table selections. So C9, wait a minute, we just did a pad. Table selections, append. In case I'm missing something, but F8 class 8.2 person 2.5 registration A3 class. Now, already this is weird on multiple counts. We started with 4 tables. I said append the new table selection, and I think this C9 does not show up in here. Okay, that was the new table selection. That's what I appended there. That's what I used there. Okay. But notice these 4 values don't map. They don't match this, right? So this table looks, well, it looks old. Like, what would keep it from getting updated? I mean, how would the original one get in there twice regardless, right? I just don't see that. But it's got F88255, and then instead of F8, it's got the A3, which was the 4th one we added. Now we're trying to add a 5th, and it's not showing up in there. Okay, let's look at table reference map. Will I get anything useful? Yeah. Okay, so the key, table selections, table reference map. The key is 826, Okay, it's in random order because it's a dictionary. That's person. Key C9. Have we executed this row? It's class. How many entries? 5 value pairs. I am so confused. F8, 255, A3. Yeah, it's the newly created one. I thought I hadn't run this line yet. Maybe I have. I'll step over. One, yeah, I don't know what that. Cancel. Step over. Now I would expect the table to be updated. Table reference map. How many entries you got? 5. A26, C9. A3, that's the other fourth one. This is, well, there may be some goofy debugging thing where things haven't really settled, you know. I don't know. Usually they make the debugger a little more, they kind of compensate for being out of order or whatever. Although it shouldn't, I mean, instruction, it's not like it's arithmetic where they get a lot of choice about how they organize things. All right, let's continue. And now this has F8 again. I mean, are we looking things up backwards somewhere? All right, I'm going to add one more. Let's add a registration. Okay, so let's print original. Okay, that should be 255 registration. Yes. And then let's step over this. Okay. New table selection. 634. Okay. Now let's print. We haven't run line 47 yet. I'm just printing the IDs. 646 is not in there. There are 5. Okay. Let's step over. Repeat that print. Should have 6. What? It's not being appended. Okay, let's go look at table selections. Is a list of table selection. That's pretty simple. And we don't override add or anything. Okay, so apparently this is some debugger artifact then, because we just said append it. It's not in there. All right. Now let's look at table reference map. Map sub new table selection.id should be nil. Maybe I swapped those two lines and didn't rebuild. Let's run again. That's too crazy of a coincidence. At least some debuggers I've worked with will give you a warning if the code is newer than the thing. But I guess I put it back, so maybe that's why. Maybe I shot myself in the foot in a clever way. Okay. Duplicate class. Okay, we started with 3. Let's print original is 1C7. That's good. Let's step over. Print new table selection. Oops. ID FBF. Okay. We'll print table selections.map $0.ID. We start with 3, 1C7, 140, 7D9. We don't have FBF yet. We'll step over. Now FBF should be in there. Yep. I mean, so that's when I say the table selections looked right. I mean, that's the kind of thing we saw before. All right, now table reference map. And this did not update, I don't think. Table reference map. Okay. So table reference map of new table selection.id should be the new one, FBF. Yes. Okay, and we'll continue. 1C7 in there twice. Okay, so at least my best understanding is we are up to date. We've updated table selections when we leave this thing. Now we're a mutating function. All right, I'm gonna do another one just to make sure. We get 3 entries with 1C7. That we do. And if we change one, do they all change? Yes, they do. Oh, weird update bugs is what drove me to. I don't know. It's one of the reasons I wanted to change to structs because they tend to be less. Okay, so well, assuming the table reference table 1 view or whatever it is doesn't. Well, I guess all tables view is bound to database selection. I don't know. Let's say Swift mutating function changes to fields. When does it notify? I don't know if notify is the right question. Thank you. 2 minutes is about right. Yeah. Okay, that's I wouldn't even mind the Apple documentation. Let's see this. No, that's not the language doc. Yeah, let's try this one first. That's not as helpful as I would want. Swift. Well, here's this. Okay. Use structures by default. Well, I mean, no, that's not what we want. Take state. Yeah, I think it is looping over table selection. So it leaves me puzzled. I mean, here it is. ID original table. Oh, we should not use original table. That's using class as the ID. We made them select identifiable. So they should use the identifiers. Yeah, I think that explains it. Okay. Run one more. But if it's using the original class name, it runs across it multiple times. That's why the list complains about the class being duplicated. All right, so there's B876. Take this out, continue, and it's different. Okay, thank you. Okay. Let's see, well. When we didn't have repeats, there wasn't any difference. Okay, so now let's get one table view. We don't need that ID in there anymore. Nothing should affect the test, but I'll just run them anyway. Yeah, it's nice that making it simpler makes it better, so that's cool. Why are you showing me these things in the list? There was something goofy yesterday. I think, no? I don't know. There was some change somewhere. I had to update like my known hosts or something. Maybe this doesn't know that. I'll do the manual push for now and restart this thing during the break. Just delete this. Okay, well, that leaves us ready to address the real issues. Okay, let's get this together. Okay, add new tables, repeat an instructor, but they should be independent. Okay, so that part's done. I got to figure out sort order for tables. I think the independent is covered, but let's run a test. I want to do a manual test that shows why we're doing this. Whoops, that's not it. All right, so let's add a new person, and we'll call it instructor. My keyboard wasn't keeping up. All right, so the joins, we're going to join registration.class to class.id, registration.person to person.id. That gives us the people and the classes they're in. And then we're going to add class.instructor to person.id, instructor.id. This one should be person.id. Oh, man. Oh, something's wrong in the joins. All right, let's just open and see what happens, but it's not, yeah, not good. What is this? Working schema fails. Duplicate values for person. Yeah, I mean, this is not an acceptable failure, but I'm not sure it's the real deal. All right, so let's restart that. Look more carefully. I mean, I think query-wise, you should be able to do stuff, and it just doesn't make sense, but it works. It gives you what you asked for, not what you wanted, kind of thing. All right, so if I add a join, class, person, registration, that's fine. We're talking registration, class ID equals class ID. Okay, now we'll add a new person table, call it instructor, and add a join instructor ID. Well, class instructor equals instructor.id. And our third one, registration person equals class person equals person.id. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now I don't know if I delete the first one. Let's delete them all and try again. Let's do registration person equals person.id and join class.instructor equals, oh, it already went weird. That's really weird. Makes me wonder if what we're storing in there. Okay, registration person equals person.id. That did not take. Huh. Excuse me. doesn't matter what's over here. No. So somehow our joins list is blocked out. Oh. Let's figure out defect. Duplicating a table blocks joins on the original table. Okay. All right. I guess we're looking at all joins view. And then we'll go look at the joins themselves. They probably aren't smart about renames. Okay, database selection dot joins. For each one, we've got database selection and the join. Let's go to one join view. Are we bind to database selection? We bind to the join because it's a column selector. Is that right? Yeah, because the changing it in either column changes the join. Okay, so ScopedColumn selector. Got the selection, got the scoped column. Okay, your picker is selection selected, which is the column. For each database selection, write those things. So that part goes okay. Tag $0. That's a scoped column. And let's make sure it has an ID. It does. All right, let's do like we did in the other one. And let's write, let's see, this is one join. Have we got all joins? Okay, so he runs through the joins. For each one join view. Column selector. Let's print what about join? Okay, let's do the join ID first. And if I change this, it should change the join ID, right? Yeah. DA59 at the end. Did that change? thought it was changing, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the width changes the way those characters go. 7043 2D98 TA59 70432. Okay, I guess it's not changing the join ID. That isn't quite what I'd expect. Does the view ID for person collide? No, I don't think there's any way the UUIDs collide because they're all generated like, or almost all generated like this. UUID when you create the object. Now, I don't know if it has to be if it can be a let for this. Immutable property will not be decoded. Well, I do need it decoded. Okay. Yeah, so if we were saving off to the file and bringing it back, that would change, that would affect it. But in general, there's no initializer or anything like that takes one of these. And so nobody's going to update this on it. Let's add a new join, make sure it has a unique ID. Okay, yeah, 9C9 ends in 90. Okay, so the join IDs look okay to me. I do find it weird that, again, like I'm working on my models, changing this certainly changes the scoped column, and I had thought that if the scoped column changed in here, that there would be a new one created here. But maybe that's allowed. Okay. Let's go to scoped column. Okay, so we're binding on. What's the picker? Let's make sure this database selection dot scoped columns tags are 0. All right, now I'm going to put the tag here too. $0. Maybe I need to do .id. Tag 0. $0 is a scoped column, but I don't know if that automatically takes the ID if it can. It could take the value itself in some sense. Oh, I think I still have the join print, but oh well. Okay. Woo. Selection scope column ID 1C6. Table selection is invalid. Does not have an associated tag. Well, database selection.scoped columns should be a scoped column. If this is using, it hates that idea. Okay, selection scoped column ID, column instrument. Okay, that's basically just each of these is invalid. So each column is invalid with that on there. How does it not have an associated tag? I mean, this is its ID. I thought if they were just unique, it would be fine. Is invalid, does not have an associated tag. Join is created when you add join. That's when it gets its UUID. Yeah, it won't change if you change columns. That is true. I'm kind of surprised because I thought a value object that had its fields change would itself be marked as changed, but maybe not. All right, now this, I don't get the selection is invalid. Well, all right, I'm not worried about one join view at this point. Let's take this part out. Labels hidden. I don't remember what that does. I'm back to $0. Oh, that's that. Okay, that is definitely something I want. All right, class instrument, class ID, registration person. Now add a new person table. And, well, let's change one of them. Person, instructor. ID, person.id. What am I selecting? I mean, I guess I'm changing which scoped column. Well, all right, let's go down in there. He has a table reference. Let's print those. And let's go to all table, one table view. Excuse me. And let's print the ID here too. I don't know if I gotta say $0. It's really table selection. ID. ScopedColumn, please submit. Well, we didn't change anything there. Let's. Fail to produce diagnostic. Ugh. Is it? Oh, it went away. No. I think it was this that threw it off. Oh, it probably has got to be in a string. I gotta say, that could stand a better error message. If that's what it is, looks like it. I think because of the way they use, you know, the closures and all that stuff, it's a lot harder for them to figure out the context of what's going on, but still. All right, so I've got the table names so I can tell what they are. I'll add a, let's duplicate this one. Yeah, your question, could tables copied, could it get duplicate columns? Oh yeah, maybe so. Let's see, so table selection got copied. No, it gets the metadata columns. Is that, oh, those are strings. Oh, maybe. Yeah, these are not structured objects. They're just strings. It's a table name and a set of strings. The table reference is UUID basically, and that just makes sure this object that knows the toggling is correct. All right, let's carry on with the debugging. I've got 4 tables now. I'm going to add a join. Oh, I put it on the list as a separate thing, but okay. Are they all in there? Okay. So class, actually it's not, we want registration. Class, let me change the name. R2, let's try again. Okay, so where's registration? Okay, R2 class ID, class FK is 8383. Registration CBD. Are they different? I guess that's the ScopedColumn ID, so not a. I am confused. Surprise. All right. So these IDs appear to be unique per class. E3D, BA7, 83D, CBD. Okay, so whatever that thing is displaying, one table, no, one join, scope column selector. All right, so those are selectable. We don't want them to be, but that's the way they are. $0 is the scoped column. So the names, oh yeah, it's the table. These are the scoped columns. So scoped column is one. Well, wait a minute. A scope column is like class.instrument. So I'm not sure why these are unique. Or whether the same across one class. Table selection ID. Oh, table selection. Okay. Yeah, so that's the table ID that matches up to the ones above on in the background here. Okay, so that is the right table ID. Yeah, let's see when somebody selects it. The scoped column sorry, for each of these are all the scope columns in the database selection. So all the possible table and field combos or column. Yeah. Where am I printing that? Did I delete it from here? I did. But let's print that, right? So that should be the scoped column ID, right? And that should have no duplicates. You're right. $0 in tag. It's saying make the scoped column be its own ID. So tag, you promise to give unique stuff to them. So these should all be unique. We'll find out if they are. I think they kind of are, but I don't know. All right, duplicate registration. One's F4, one's 04. All right. Now, these should show the scope column. Yeah, so class instrument is 9F, and class name is AE, and each one of these is unique. Now let's get down to registration. Well, we can't distinguish them, so let's put that in first. Okay, I should probably duplicate class because it's the first one alphabetically. Registration, person FK is E6. Yeah, these are all different. Registration DF and E6, registration 28696. Okay, so those are... I'm trying to think how the picker, what are you selecting? I guess you're not selecting the tag. That's just what it uses to keep track of things. So when it has a list of stuff, you put tags on that are guaranteed to be unique, and then I believe it throws it into a hash table. So when it does redraws and stuff like that, it can reference. And if you sorted the table, it would still find registration 2, in the right place. Or let's say we duplicated class, it would know you've changed the order, and it can find the same stuff. It just has to move them around, that kind of thing. But what's weird, I think we may be hitting the line of the actual join, building the join is, we probably don't do anything with renames. We've never done that, I guess. I think that's what it's boiling down to. I think these are, what do I think? Why is selection screwing up? Okay, I guess I don't know. Registration to person FK, came up as registration. So selecting these, I mean, I can say ID, but it shouldn't, that should be the default. Now, I don't know. Let's name this something that comes before. A person FK. If I change it to registration person FK. So it's picking the first one alphabetically. The first one, what? I don't know. let's see, what is the type of, I mean, this is selection. The type of this thing. Can I stretch that? Yeah. Creates a picker displaying a custom label. Selection is a binding of selection value, which I think must be scoped column. Label and content we don't care about. When label conforms to view, selection value conforms to hashable content. So is scoped column hashable? Yes. Ooh, is scoped column equals? That's the one. Okay. Yeah, so I think picker returns the scope column, but this equatable is looking at the table names because there was never a selection ID before. Okay, now I don't know if it'll screw something else up. Let's go to the scoped column tests. Do we have an equality test? Sorting, description, table selection, my table. Yeah, let's check equality first. Description fine, but equality. I don't think it's really going to throw, but okay. This pattern comes from James Shore. Yeah, we need to compare those table reference ID dot column ID dot table name or something. Maybe just table reference IDs. It's the tables that are screwed up. Okay, so let's create. Well, we need a table selection and a column. Okay, so we'll create a table selection. We need to create 1A, 1B, and 2. Okay. I'm probably messing up some of the names that James uses, but table selection. I don't know if we need 1A and B on that. I think we just need 2 tables. Okay. The idea is we're going to have column 1A, column 1B, and column 2. There are 3 scope column entries. Okay. And this one, we're going to have table selection 1 ID. Give this the same stuff, 1 ID. And actually we can make more that are the same. I'm going to make a 1C with a different table. Okay. And then column 2 should be table selection 2.id. All right. So we have the ones are the same ones and the 2s are different ones, or the 2. And the tests are, we want to make sure that 1A equals 1B. Column 1A should be equal to column 1B. Column 1A should be equal to column 1C, which it's not going to right now. And then, I don't know, just sort of enforcing transitivity. Let's make sure all 3 are equal to each other. All right, so you compare the ones that should be equal, and then we can compare the ones that should not be equal. Okay, so column 2 should not be equal, because it's got a different table selection. It should not be equal to 1A or 1B or 1C. Now, you don't have to do all the combinations probably, but I think in this case, I want to be extra careful because I know it's already messed up. Okay, so basically normally you just have two cases. You check that A equals B and 1 does not equal 2. Okay, and the order doesn't matter. It should be a symmetric equals. All right, this test I believe is going to fail because it's comparing renamed. Well, it should be the same table because it's got the same table selection ID. Yeah, we got to compare the IDs. So 1A failed to be equal to C, and it failed to be equal to A. This failed. Wait, why did 1A fail? Oh, 1A and C and B, right. They have different names. Okay. And then 2 showed up as, this should be not equal. Wrong stuff's failing. Okay, and not equal. Okay, column 2 should not be equal to 1A because it's got different table IDs. All right, let's get the right failure. It's so critical. And it's easy to not do, admittedly. All right, so I expect the flip over here. These two fail, yeah, and these two still fail. All right, and then scoped column equality. Well, it really should be table selection ID, as you pointed out. So LHS.table selection ID equals this dot table selection ID. Whoops. I wanted to run tests, not code. I wish I could keep both open at the same time. No failures. Okay, so that helped there. Let's see what it does in real life. Okay, so I'll duplicate class. And I'm going to do some joins. I got to rename this one. Okay, so if I rename this afterwards, he'll be the loser. I can get those out. Okay, but class dot ID equals class dot instructor, and let's change this one to zz dot something. It works now. ZZ, and because the alphabetical order mattered before, let's make this one be ZZ now. Okay. Class.instrument equals, let's do ZZ.instrument equals, yeah, okay. And let's get that debugging code out. So, yeah, let's get that out first. ScopedColumn selector. And table view. All right, so I want to reflect on what's going on, or how we found that. It's interesting to me. Well, I think adding the IDs was good. That helped it. I got distracted because I was confused about what would get updated, for sure. Could we have started lower down somewhere? I mean, I guess we could have tried looking at the objects at the bottom. I'm not sure I would have caught it without those IDs though. Yeah, so I think adding the IDs was okay. Now, what's open in my mind, where's scoped column? It has table. Does it ever use it? Join.column1.table. I'm not sure about that. I think I kind of feel like maybe that should be a var computed value. And it really should come from the table reference. I'm going to leave that as an open question. So I guess my question is, should ScopedColumn have its table defined when it's created? Well, it seems like we update it, right? Because when we change the descriptions, that table name gets updated. But then we're using, this is kind of what I get back to on the rename. It's not, it's using the name that got set up with. Now maybe that's the same, because when it creates it, it's going to have the name. I don't know. I'm going to leave that as a to-do kind of open issue for later. Okay, so should scoped column maintain the table name or look it up as needed? All right, I'll let that go. Okay, so what happened here? Let's just say scoped column dot equals was looking at the table name rather than the table reference. And this is really original rather than the table reference. But if you ask for the table, wait a minute. Maybe I'm being stupid. I guess you don't need the reference map. Oh no, it's a table reference. It's not a table selection. Okay, yeah, you do need the reference map. I feel like maybe computing this table needs the reference map too. Do we need the rename table or just the original table name? For queries, we need the original table name. We might need the renamed name too. We haven't done that yet. Yeah, this reference ID is a UUID. Okay. Right, but it's funny. Well, yeah, it's definitely weird that equality is dependent on only some of the fields, right? I mean, that's kind of unexpected, maybe. I can understand it evolved because this was not there in the original. It only had table and column. All right, let's see. So I don't think I've either run tests or run the real thing with everything cleaned up. So let's make sure that looks good. and run. Duplicate class, call it class 2. Add a join. Class instrument equals class 2.id. Okay, good. No variables, IDs thrown in there. Fix defect where scoped column was comparing by original table name rather than table selection ID. Okay. Well, that time it went through. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so we fixed the defect. Figure out sort order. Okay. Does ScopedColumn need the names? Well, yeah, that's a good question. It needs to be able to generate the description for sure. And the description is the string that shows up here. So that's got to come from somewhere. But like you say, that's the name. We haven't dealt with columns yet, but I think columns should really go to the there'll be a UUID kind of thing too. They're going to get renamed and they got to be tracked in the UI because we're going to keep them in there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We can look at those again. Okay, so when you're computing the working column, you have access. This is in database selection, so you have access to the rename table. So I don't think you need that there. That's a test. That one, tables used. That's, what's that for? Oh, no one references that anymore. Okay, I think we were doing that. We were using that for duplicate checking or something before, but if no one's using it. Yeah, let's make sure with unused tables that check's still good. So I'll duplicate, and if I take these two out, these tables have duplicate names. Class. Yeah, okay. But the unique tables warning, yeah, something's wrong. Oh my gosh. I know something's going to be wrong when we get to the queries, maybe, but we're not dealing with the renames in there as far as I know. Right. So whoever's computing we should have that warning about unjoined tables because we still have class. Well, it's in class 2. Right. They don't duplicate each other, but they're unjoined tables and they generate a cross product. So that whoever's computing that is using table names, which was the valid way before we let you change them. Okay. And I'm okay even if it just uses the renamed names because there'll be a warning if there's two the same, and then they'll fix that two the same, and they'll get the warning about and they're not joined. Okay. Right. So okay. So let's get this in. We deleted unused method tables used. No, they're still not being pushed. Okay. Right. So we want to look at the table join analysis. Cross products. Okay, if there's any take the cross products, yeah. These are the sets of tables. Okay. The table names equals tables. Here it is, column1.table. Can we do table reference ID? Okay, let's make a test. Yeah, this affects renaming. I mean, renaming affects this, and we didn't check any of those cases. Okay, so func test renamed tables are checked for cross products. All right, let's find a simple case. We just need a couple tables. One table, no table, one table. Tables all in joins, get no message. Okay, well, we can work from there. Table selection. All right. Whoops. Nope. Variable. Okay, so now we got table selection 1. Let's rename table selection 1 dot renamed table. We'll just force it equals renamed. Okay. Oops, this is not settable. I have to do, and this one's going to have the same name. So we're in effect duplicating them but renaming one. All right, so there's the table selections. Table join analysis. Well, I don't think we need any joins to get this issue. Okay, so, all right, we got two tables, two instances of the same table. I'll move this down just to kind of highlight that, I guess. And we can rename two if that makes it flow better. All right, so we got table 1, we got table 2. Now this one needs to be the let, and this one needs to be the var. All right, we've renamed the table in table 2. We've got them both as selections. I think we can inline that. Okay, so there's the selection, there's the joins. And we want to say analysis message. Well, I want to assert false. There should be a message. Okay. And then I'm going to stop here and make sure. Well, do I care? How did we deal with that before? Message contains. Should the message contain the renamed ones? That's kind of a bunch to ask. Contains some table. Well, I'm going to say it should have the renamed one. I think that's going to take some work. Let's get one piece at a time. All right. Table 1, Table 2, rename Table 2. Don't join them. Table 1, Table 2. Check that you get a message. Check that the message says something about renamed in some table being in separate groups. Okay, which is not the equivalent to what happens now. All right, and I think, well, it'll certainly fail this line, 196. Oh, it gets an empty message. Okay. And seeing as it's empty, it certainly does not contain renamed. All right. Columns. Table names. Well, what is tables? Table selections. I can put all the IDs in, but I don't know what they are when I go back later. So the table names clustered by mergers. Yeah, I guess my claim is when you do this analysis, you should really have to give it database selection. Yeah, I guess if I do the compare, the problem is the message needs to be the table, the renamed table names. The merge can be, we could do it with the table IDs. Right. So we still filter, is this table included? If it is, rather than look at the original table of it, let's look at the table ID, and then the joins naturally can provide the table IDs. But this is Well, then it will be a set of IDs that get merged. And the mergers is doing this, which seems wrong. Table names clustered by mergers. And this we defined on an array. Mergers is a couple of strings. So, yeah, already I'm wanting to change that. But I want to get back. I want to get the names back. It's okay to cluster on them as IDs. I'd have to change this, but that's okay. Yeah, and then use the map when we're up here trying to get the message out. We could just map those tables if we had the database selection. We could map those tables. Clustered by needs the name mapping. Yeah, I think it does, because if you haven't renamed them yet, they'll show up as duplicate tables, and they won't show up as a cluster warning if, well, no, is that true? Even the way we are now, yeah, that's true. If they're the same name, they get a unique table warning. If you change one of them, they should get a cluster warning, but today they won't because it's looking at the original names. No. Yeah, it's looking at the original names. That's what the cross product has. No, it doesn't. What will make that go? Something's not looking at the renames, because otherwise this would work. All right. Well, let's make sure this looks like. Okay. I think we have a failing test. I think we'll take a break. Yeah, clustered by is gonna. No, I don't think clustered by needs the name mapping, but somebody does. Yeah, I think that's the way to say it. Clustered by is very generic. This could really be hashable, or yeah, I think it's doing a map. So if they were hashable instead of string, then it would be fine. Right. So, and even this doesn't have to be anything, because we're merging. It could be ID. I mean, I think this could be generic over that. We just look at the strings. We don't compare them. Is that right? I have to think about it. All right, let's take a break and then we'll think. All right, so 3 or 4 minutes and come back and figure out this clustering. Welcome back. Okay, so we left off. We now see the renaming. We originally take all the original table names and cluster them, and they aren't really the right thing anymore. Now, our test will pass with these, so let's do that at least. Okay, so I think we need to check the renamed names rather than the original table. So this was called table, now it's renamed table. And we don't worry about if they're unique or not, because something else worries about that. All right, I think this might pass. The joins, we don't have any joins in our test, so these are not going to apply. All right. So run the test, and I think this should make it pass. No, yeah. Almost. It's probably got the wrong message. Oh, what? What? Oh, okay. Join errors and empty names both return messages. Oh, and what do we get for a message now? The following tables have an empty name. It's not equal to empty cross B. Yes, that's correct now. Because we were showing the original name in the message. Now we're showing the renamed name. And the display here should, the message for empty tables shows the original table name because the empty name is boring. Over here, it's got the originals. Okay, I think that's how it's showing it. Yeah. All right, but our other test passed. That's a good thing. Okay, so what we fixed is cluster analysis needs to look at renamed table names rather than original. And that's part of renaming. And I didn't reboot my setup here. Oh, well. Okay. Now, I think we need to test with a join. Oh, my gosh. Oh, that's some other test. Okay. Where's database analysis? Table join analysis. And the test. Okay, so now rename tables in joins are checked. So let's do let's rename that. Okay, and I'm gonna do I have to worry about the table name? Not really. Okay. Yeah, so as this is, these are going to be they will the original one says there's a complaint, we don't have the renamed in some table thing. Okay. The new one, we want to put a join in. It's a join with scoped column 1 reference ID table selection 1. Table name is some table. Well, maybe this is okay. What's the matter? Table selection 1.id. Column, any column. Table selection 2 ID. Table is renamed table. Column is any column. It's a little bit of a weird join, but if you had stuff like people and spouses could be joined together, or parents or something. All right. So reference ID table 1, table 2, we got the name, and we're showing that correctly, so I guess it's probably the right way. All right, but we should get this should be true now because they do both participate. Yeah, what was the original name? You're right. I've got to check that. ScopedColumn. It is original. Which probably will make it fail. Oh, it did have 0 failures. Trailing comma violation. Multi-line. I guess he's multi-line, I suppose. Okay, there's the failure. It's not empty. L. I guess I just put the message as a string. Get our good message. All right. There we go. Yeah. So because they show up as the same name, because it's got original table in the join, then we don't get the message. Okay. And so I guess this means this thing, whoops. If this thing's going to get the original, the renamed table, it's got to have a reference to the table. Am I doing this too hard? He's got the table ID. Yeah, he's got to do it because again, we're doing structs. So if the table changed, we wouldn't have access to it. Okay. All right. Now, to get this information, I guess we're going to need, well, let's see who's doing this. It looks like stuff database selection has. Oh, there you are. Table selections, joins. I almost think it could get by with database selection. These both come from there. It also needs the map. Yeah, let's do that. Var database selection. And then these two, let's just make them things. Get it from database selection dot tables and database selection dot joins. And actually these should be private, I think. This should just store that. Self.database equals database selection. Well, we don't even need init then. Okay, that should all be happy, but the callers are not going to be happy. Okay. Well, this is self. That's that one. These are tests. Okay. Dot table selections equals this. And the joins are empty, but we can be explicit. All right. Yeah, I think this is what's going to happen. Table selections equals this, that goes there. Joins was empty. This is tedious. I don't like tedious. Table selections, yes. joins, set them up. Yeah, although, hell, we haven't done that much. Maybe it would help some. I guess you're always going to give it the joins. Yeah, let's do that. I think I can. Yeah, I'm sure it's a good call. Just tables. should be able to copy that line. Yeah, we're getting there slowly. Okay. Let's see a better way to do this now. Let's make that tables. It's clear I could just have made an analysis instead of a database selection. I miss one. Oh, that's our failed test. Okay, let's see if we should fail the same way. Yeah, I can fix that. Okay. The other complaint. All right. Now, this has that. Okay, I can see we should probably just make that an it. I was being lazy at the time, I guess. All right. We have the database selection. Now we need to use it. Okay, so the join columns, it's got to be, let's open database selection. I don't know if I have, well, I think I've messed up the setup by not having these in there too. I got rename. I don't have anything to look it up, I guess. Let's see what it uses. Well, there's my column sort that I didn't like. Oh no, That's scope columns. They're okay. Okay-ish. Table reference. Duplicate. Duplicate. Okay, I guess I need... I want the table rename given an ID. So we're asking the collection to do the work there. So var, no, it's a func. Renamed table name. For, well, I don't need the ID. I think we're wishing this into existence here for this. Table for analysis. Okay. So instead of asking $0.column1, I guess it's going to be dot table selection ID, but I'm going to have to ask database selection dot renamed table name for that. So I guess this is getting unwieldy. Okay. Maybe just rename. I want to say new name of. Let's rename table name. Let's get it in there and then we'll worry about the prettiness. All right. Database selection. Table reference. Okay. And then to get the name, we got to look in here. And then get the table selection and ask it for the rename. Okay, so we'll take table map, ras map sub table ID. You're not helping any. If that exists, then rename table. Else, I'm gonna. It's kind of a can't happen, but as we saw before, it could. Okay. I think that will do that. Renamed. Yeah. Okay. Then in here, so now we're getting back to table names. Column.table selection ID. Which I don't like too much. I think that can just be table ID. Okay. Rename table name. I don't know. I'll leave name off. I get worried about it. All right, so now we're merging the joins based on the renamed names, which are also what we got here. So I think this test should pass. We're getting left and right. Oh yeah, because we did not rename these with this. Okay. Table ID, table selection. We got to look at that in our tests, I guess. Who failed? It was the first rename. First inactive toggle table. I guess we didn't put any in, period. Okay. Well, that's a mistake from before. Well, insufficient refactoring, I guess, made that more likely. All right. So if we go look at table selections, somewhere we had append in one of our views. No, I don't see it. There it is. Okay. Yeah. So wherever you are in there. Duplicate doesn't append. And we updated the map. This really goes together. And it's really what you want when you append anything. Okay, so database selection appends, but there's another append out there. Right, the actual duplicate call. Where's the original setup? Do we have an init? We don't. How did those tables get in there without an init? Let's find references to table selections. Does it have an append? Well, that database selection, that's fine. Well, that's there. That's fine. Somebody sets those up originally, though. It's database view, probably. Or the bridge. Whenever we change databases. Okay, database name, database equals SQL database, current database. Well, that's not it. Select database. Right. These all get stuck in there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think appending a table is something that's an action that we need to do. Right here. Yeah, we've table selections. Right. So we make a table selection, and then we basically we're mapping those. We're assigning those to table selections. We've mapped them all from metadata to table selection, and then to keep it consistent, we've mapped all the IDs to the tables we just created. That I think should really be an append. There should be an append operation that does both map table selection and map references of this. Okay, so I hate being, yeah, I don't like being here. Where's my code? Debug. Nope. Oh, I'm not debugging right now. Okay. Yeah, I mean okay. That's the old one. Yeah, that's reasonable, but not the problem. Okay, I think it was up here somewhere where we started doing those. Well, let me run it again. Yeah, the test should need less. One thing is though that some do renames and some don't, so that's kind of unfortunate. Where's the test? Oh, it's blowing up on a rename. Well, that's comforting, I guess, in a slight way. All right. Gosh, these things cross my mind, and I just go, yeah, I should. All right. But this is append. Well, who's appending tables, right? It's really this guy, duplicate, and the initial setup, because that's the only way we create tables. Okay, so I think I can deal with this. Okay, so let's see. Columns, tables are kind of down here. Append. And then do I want to get the table selection? Let's go back to bridge. I mean, he's creating the table selections. Now this one, database selection, is doing it in there. And I think he has to because we don't want the caller to do that work. That's all. How do you duplicate it? We could imagine a different approach. Okay. So append, I guess, takes a table selection and is void. All right. But the key thing is, this is what it's doing. Well, I can call it new table selection. That's not bad. Okay. So if you want to create one, how about func? You want to create, right? A new table selection. We'll append it to the list of selections, and we'll save your reference map. Okay, so this one should be doing append. It should be doing just append new table selection. Okay, so that's the first user. All the other tests should pass. I guess they don't have a chance to run. Yeah, okay, that's that same failure. Let's take that test out for a minute. Where's ignore, disable? Okay, hope I can remember I do that and run the tests. Oh no. Table join analysis. Check, test, disconnect. He gets a message too. How does analysis be nil? No, okay, I'll just fix it. Table join analysis. Where's database bridge? Okay, so now we're going to do database.table metadata. Dot for each. Okay, so for each table in the metadata, we're going to do selection.append table selection of metadata $0. And now this reference to selections goes away because we don't own that anymore. I think all that goes away. Reference to selections, map the ID to the thing, throw it in a dictionary, and that's your map. Yeah, we've done the work up there, I believe. Okay. No. Oh. Okay. It's like the non-clustered tests. What test are you failing on? Test disconnected meta joints. And I don't know, is analysis empty? How does message come back nil? I don't think it can. Could analysis be nil? No, it's not. Oh, it's nil because it blew up. Okay, I guess that's reasonable enough. Okay, so analysis.message. Ran too far. Okay. The message, you'd think the break would be at a array clustered by line 9. That doesn't sound right. Oh, clustered by line 9, let union. Okay. Right, the unions, they were values that came back with empty question marks. All right, that's the renamed table. Now, I thought this thing I just did with the append would fit. Oh, the tests don't append. Okay. Right. So, where's our make? table selections equals tables. No, we're going to go through tables. For each table, we're going to do a database selection dot append tables $0. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Joins don't seem to have this problem. Okay, so now I predict I'm not throwing in the renames. Okay, so we'll have to figure out the renames too. Use tests. But I think we can. Okay, let's make that change to. Okay, the other thing I have to do is if $0 dot original table is not $0 dot renamed, then database selection dot rename $0 dot ID $0. I think. Make sure that builds. Okay, so this should be, where's those cases? Now the toggle, that may be a problem. Okay, oh, it's testing. Did it already crash? Table 1, okay, which test are you? Cross product. Test joins of, we haven't done anything with joins. Joins of non-visible tables doesn't crash. I don't see any non-visible tables. Table 1. Let's check the history on this. Not there. Not really there. Excuse me. Sort tables. Which table test was it? Something about unjoined, joins of non-visible. I don't understand the name. Table 1 with column, table 2 column, table 3 column. Table 4. Oh. Table reference. Yeah, we don't know anything about table 4 in our database. Right? It has to be in here. Right. I think this just has to exist. Table selection, table 4. Well, you're referencing a table that no one's using. I think this one needs to be inactive. Table 4 of another. And I think we want to make well, table sub 3 dot toggle. So we're deactivating him. This ought to be a var. Okay. So we toggle that last one. I think I can say that last. Oh. Okay. And I think this will fail. Well, I don't think it'll test the real thing. All right. I don't know if our make thing, did it just copy them in? No, it says append tables. Oh, still. All right. What's right? Right. It's the lookup. Okay. Well, I think we're going to stop here. This is on test joins. Is it the same one? Yes. Non-visible tables doesn't crash. Well, somebody gets a question mark. It's like the table didn't get an ID, or it gets appended, right? We append everything. I gotta stop. Yeah, we appended everything. We renamed anything, but not seeing it. All right, we will stop here. What we have is at least one crashing test, and I suspect more when we get into renames. But I'm not quite sure what the cause is. I think we're getting close on this. And the real thing is this last test. You know, we're trying to make the renames really do the job and show up correctly in the clusters. What we seem to have, I suspect it's just test setup because it's the wrong, I mean, it's claiming it has no name to rename to. But that's fine. All right. So we will pick up there next time. And that's tomorrow, Wednesday, 2 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 to 9:30 UTC. And we'll hopefully see you next time or some other time. Take care. Bye-bye.